Hi guys and gals, David Easterbrook here. Today we'll be working on an unusual deciduous species. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, David Easterbrook here. Before we start though, I'd like to thank everyone for looking at my videos. Right now we're up to 5,000 subscribers. I'd really encourage you, if you can, to get your friends, get your colleagues to subscribe also, because the more subscribers we have, the better content. I'll be able to go out and buy more expensive trees and be able to do more classes, more videos for free for you guys. So please refer this video to your friends and get them to subscribe. Thanks a lot. Today we're going to be working on native alder, Alnus glutinosa. It's a cultivar called razzmatazz. I found it at a local nursery where it had been in the back of the nursery for literally years and years and years. You know, a lot of people want only trophy bonsai, Japanese white pines or black pines or Shimpaku juniper. Whereas I like to work with everything. Anything that I see that has a thick trunk, a lot of lower branches, for me, it's great material to make into bonsai. So today we're going to be using this tree and we're going to make a nice bonsai out of it. You know, when I bought it at the local nursery, it only cost $50 at this time of year. They're on sale. And I think after it's transformed and potted up in a nice bonsai pot in the spring, it'll easily sell for $400 or $500. We're going to start by removing some of the soil around the base of the tree. Find the front of the tree. You always have to look at the root system, the nabari, to find what the front of the tree is. I'm going to start by scraping away a little bit of the topsoil here. We're not going to remove all the soil, because while we're working on it, the roots would literally dry out and die. And on top of that, it's not the season for repotting. So I just want to find the level where the main roots are situated, and that will help me to decide what the front is. It's a very unusual species to work on. I've never seen one in a bonsai exhibition, although I did create a very nice one at the Botanical Gardens from an alder that had been donated by somebody, still in the collection of the Montreal Botanical Gardens. Now, aspens are in the same family as birch trees and hornbeams. It's a Betulaceae, and they grow really quickly. They're easy to repot. They have flexible branches. So all in all, a good bonsai material. The leaves are a little large, yes, but you know, the leaves will reduce with time. And anyways, we have such a large trunk, the leaves will be quite proportional to the trunk. So we don't have to worry too much about that. It's a tree that will readily grow new roots. They grow along streams and rivers in very wet, humid areas. We're turning it around now. I've got a nice root here, not too many here. Right here is pretty good. Now, I have some roots coming out of this side. A lack of roots right here. That's unfortunate right there. So we're not going to be able to choose exactly here as the front. If we turn it around, there's some nice roots here, but you have to take more than the roots into consideration. Here we have a bulge right here, because this alder was actually grafted. Here where the trunk was removed or cut back, we have a very bad scar that's sticking right out at us. I don't like that. That's a defect. So I want to put it in the back of the tree. We're going to turn the tree around now, and I like the curve coming coming toward me, and I think I'm going to tilt it a little more this way. Just let me get something to put under it, and then we'll be able to show you what angle I'll put it at, or the future angle of the tree. That's no, a little bit too extreme. We'll shorten it a bit. Okay, there. Now, I'm going to put in a wire to show you where the front of the tree is. The reason why I want this to be the front is we've got a nice angle, okay, like this, and the tree draws the eye upwards. This inner curve draws the eye upward, and actually the top will be this branch here. We're going to begin by removing unnecessary branches, shortening the branches, then we'll start the wiring process. We want a front branch, but this one's too long. This one, we have two coming from the same junction. This one's too thick and unwieldy, so this one is going to be removed here. This is going to be shortened. This branch here also shortened. Here. And finally, this tall branch here is going to be our top. Much too tall though. So this will be shortened here. This is what we're going to be keeping on this tree. Don't be afraid of cutting. Good time to prune deciduous trees. They're just about to go dormant, and so they don't suffer too much from pruning at this time of year. I'm going to remove the stubs. With deciduous trees, you don't want stubs. The wood rots, so we don't want that. So we're going to remove this. There we go. Now, this needs to be tapered down. We don't want to create shari or deadwood on the tree, but we do want to taper it a bit. So I'm just going to grab a drill here and drill into it, and then remove some parts. So I've drilled a little hole there. Now we're going to break some of that out and create a little taper on this. No, still too large. We'll create a little taper this way. This tree will heal over relatively quickly. We'll put some cut paste on it. I don't want to drill any further into the trunk, because if not, water will gather in there and it'll rot away the trunk. So I'm just carving it down. I'll smooth it out later, put some cut paste on it, and let it heal over. I like the when I carve out a wound, it to be tear-shaped so that it heals over really well and makes a natural scar. I think that's pretty good there. Now we'll start wiring the tree. I'm still hesitant. I don't like this. For a front branch, it's too low, so I think I'm going to remove this also. Just taking it into consideration, it's just too low. They have nice flexible branches. We're not going to wire them completely horizontally. We're just going to wire them slightly above horizontal. So I'll be wiring probably from this branch. Yeah, I'll be wiring from here to here, and then I'm going to double with a thicker wire from here up to the top. So let me get some aluminum wire, because it's a soft bark. I don't want to scar up the bark, so I'm just getting some. Here we go. I think we've got some wire here that'll do the trick. We want to be able to go to the end of this branch and a little bit up this one. With trees having large leaves, you don't want to leave too much foliage, too many branches. So that's what we're doing. I want to pull this branch forward, so we're going to have to start here and give ourselves a little bit more here. Okay, so here we go. We start by anchoring the wire here. Okay. And this tree is a very vigorous tree. In the spring, where it's lacking branches, it'll bud out all along the primary branch. It'll fill up very, very rapidly. That's the great thing about using such vigorous trees. They're so vigorous that they'll just bud out really well. Remove the excess here. And now we need thicker wire. We want to bring this over the top to create a new top for our tree. Now you see why I removed that dead end, because if I hadn't have done it right away, I would have had wire going over the top. So yeah. Okay. So now the wire is anchored on this branch. Now we'll go right up to the top here. Just figuring out how much wire I need. Just give yourself a little bit more than you need. Okay. This is a number 6 millimeter aluminum wire. Hopefully we won't need thicker than this. I do have it though. But we can always double up. Your wire should be touching the wood without squeezing it. So you have to give your tree at least a full season, a growing season, so that the branch will assume the shape you want to give it. If the wire's too tight, obviously we've got a problem, because it'll scar the trunk very, very rapidly. Okay, so I just want to the branches, when we're creating a bonsai, if this is the front, the branches should be coming towards you at a 45 and 90 degree angle. The first two branches should always be embracing the spectator. Now I don't want these two branches to be at the same level, so this one will be higher. The front, the top of the tree, has to be bent toward the spectator, and it's very long and straight. So not only does it need to be bent toward the spectator, but also we need to give it some interesting curves. Okay, I think that's good enough there. We're going to be wiring all of these side branches or secondary branches to create a nice rounded top. We'll be using thinner wire. So now you always wire in pairs. We'll go from this branch up to the next one. This is 3mm aluminum wire. Now this branch is very straight also, so we'll have to give it some movement. Before that, of course, we have to wire its twin branch, the other one. Again, always one wire for two branches, so that the wire will be anchored between the two branches. The two branches have to be roughly similar thicknesses. Otherwise, otherwise the wire will be too thick to do its job or too thin to do its job. Okay, we'll keep on going. Here we'll use, again, a number 3 wire between this one and this one. Okay. So we're wiring these two other branches together. Then we'll do this one and this one here. It's always better to do all your main branches first. The main branches are obviously all the branches that come off the main trunk. And once they're all done, then we can go back to each main branch and do all the secondary branches. Okay, so here we go with this one. And we're going to be shortening this branch, more of it, so I don't need to bring the wire right to the end because it's just this branch is too long for the top, so we'll cut some of it back. Now we're going to be doing these two thicker ones, so I need maybe a 3.5 4 number 4 wire. The small branch I'm wiring now will be my back branch. Doesn't have any leaves on it, but that's okay. It'll send out all kinds of new leaves in the spring. Cut this wire, we'll do the 3 smaller ones up on the top, 3 smaller branches, and then we'll start doing the secondary branches. This will probably take a number 2mm wire. This wire is a little thick for this little branch, but we're wiring loosely so it won't break the branch. Here we go, doing this one here. It's meat. It's a much thicker branch though. And finally we have one last one to do. This branch here, we have no branch to pair it with, so we'll just anchor it on another branch and go from there. You have to, if you're anchoring it lower down, you have to do at least 3 or 4 turns, so it'll be well anchored. Okay, there we go. And we'll just Anchor this one here. The other end. Okay. Now we'll place the other main branches and then start wiring the secondary branches. This branch here will come a little bit, fill this void right over here, because we do already have a back branch, but we do have a void right here. So we're going to fill it with this branch here. Here we go. Now we'll start wiring secondary branches. I'll shorten some of these. Now that we see where our top is, we'll shorten some branches. This one's coming underneath. This needs to be shortened. Shortened here. Save some work wiring. Begin the, not a tedious job, but the long job of wiring smaller branches. But because the tree doesn't have that many branches, we'll be able to do them relatively quickly today. Usually you don't keep a bottom branch, but this one is going to be a very good extension of this. I can cut part of this away. So I will be keeping this branch here, and it'll become, finally it'll become the growing point, the growing tip of this branch. It'll give the branch good taper. So I really do want to keep it. Eventually I can remove this, and this will become, this branch that I'm wiring now will become the branch tip of this branch here. Now, deciduous trees, you don't have to be too much of a perfectionist when it comes to wiring. You can even have branches coming from the top and the bottom. Doesn't matter too much. I'll just do this one because I'm on this side of the tree. There we go. The leaves are already starting to fall off. It's fall, the leaves just turn yellow and fall. So there's not much autumn color going on, but they do have very nice catkins. You can see there's one that's forming in the spring right here. You can see this is the eventual flower, and it'll form a lovely little catkin coming down. So they do have that going for them. I like the little spring catkins. They're very pretty. Again, they don't need to be as formal as pines. You have just to create spaces between your branches. Okay, so this one's done. Now, let's go to our primary branch, which I should have done first, but I didn't. It doesn't matter. This is going to be a very nice, slightly slanting style alder. I really do like how it's turning out. You know, sometimes you can find really cool trees at local nurseries, and this is one of them. Alders can set their own nitrogen. Their roots can set nitrogen in the ground. When they built enormous dams in northern Quebec, the James Bay project and all of that, they had denuded huge mountainsides of all soil to create these enormous dams that generate hundreds of megawatts of electricity. So what they did, well, to stop all of the bare soil, or hardly any soil, from washing away, and to stabilize all these bare mountains, they literally planted millions. They can grow on bare rock because they fix their own nitrogen. That's how they repopulated all of the far north of Quebec after they built dams. Great trees. They have fine roots, easy to repot. The branches are flexible. They're easy to find. One branch left to do here. Whoops, this one's dead here. Now you just want to place the branches to fill in some of the empty spaces. There you go. Here. We'll do the back branch now and do some smaller ones up near the top, and we'll literally be finished wiring this tree. Didn't take too long, guys, did it? We're going to be doing a small branch over here with a number 1 wire because it's so tiny. We don't want to damage it. A 1 millimeter wire. And next year during the growing season, we have to put it in a growing medium that's relatively, that holds quite a bit of water. Probably it can adapt to almost any pH. Best is slightly acid, so we'll be able to put it in maybe some macadamia with a little bit of pumice, and it should do really well. Don't use really coarse macadamia because it's going to drain too quickly. So I would use mostly medium and smaller sizes of macadamia, if you can get your hands on macadamia. If not, use a soil that retains a relative amount of moisture. I've doubled this wire on this branch here. We've got one left to do, and then we'll do a few smaller ones up near our top. Okay, all right, so let's do this one here. And we'll have one branch left to do after that. So it hasn't been too bad. Usually it can take hours or days to wire a tree, but this one has very few branches, so it's going relatively quickly. Lastly, we're going to be doing this branch here. Okay, so we'll be using again some 1.5 millimeter wire on this one. Okay, here we go. It doesn't matter when you're anchoring your wire on branches, if the branches are parallel or on the same side of the tree, it doesn't matter at all. Some people tend to think you can't wire parallel branches together. That's a fallacy. Let's see what we're looking at here. Okay. To spruce it up a bit, usually I put this liquid cut paste, but I'm going to go and get some gray cut paste. So if you'll just give me a second here. So now what I'm doing is, before putting on some cut paste, I'm just smoothing off the edges to permit the tree to scar over easily. You should always do this because if there's any ridges, it prevents the tree from scarring over. So now you just take off the edges, okay? And it should even it out, and especially the edges, remove. Okay, I think we're good now. I've smoothed it all out. Cover it with some cut paste. Usually I use the cut paste for deciduous trees with the white top, but I don't have any left, so it's just a difference in color. I'm using the cut paste with the green top, which is more often used for conifers. Just a difference in color, that's all. So you want to smooth it over. Put it on as thinly as possible, and really, as the tree heals over, it'll push this cut paste toward the middle, and it'll eventually just fall right off. And remove any excess around the edges. Wet your fingers when you're removing the excess, otherwise it sticks to your fingers. Okay, now we'll do the lower one. Often with conifers, if the scar is too large, I actually take old bark and stick it on this cut paste so that you can't see the cut paste very well. It makes a nice camouflage job. So there we go. Now we've got a nice leaning style, although I'm not going to repot it today because the fall is not the best time for repotting trees. I'm going to show you probably what pot I'd put it in. As I say, these trees always grow next to water. And so I'd like to use a pot that's a reminder of where this tree grows. We're going to put this here, and I will take out the pot. I will, in order to show it to you at the right level, I'm going to put these 2x4s here. So there we go. Now you see very nice color of pot. It's a Shuho handmade tokoname ware container, signed pot. It's a very textured pot. It's a blue glaze, but it's got brown in it, and the texture goes extremely well with the bark, with the ripples in the bark. Now, I bought it probably about 10 or 15 years ago. At the time, it was $340, but now with costs rising and the cost of transportation going up, it would probably be worth quite a bit more. Also, as you know, it's almost impossible to get tokoname ware containers now. Most of the famous potters have retired or have passed away. This is a very nice pot, and I'll be anxious to put it in this pot in the spring. The pot's quite deep also, so it'll retain quite a bit of water because this tree does need quite a bit of water. There's no roots on this side, so I'll probably put a little fern on this side. Because there's a little empty space here, and I want to remind us again of the humid areas where it grows, I'll probably be planting a little Selaginella. This is it's related to the ferns. I'll probably be planting a little Selaginella right in there, okay, when it's potted up. It'll be very pretty with the green moss and the little Selaginella. Well, it'll remind us of the wild areas that these trees grow. Here we are, folks. One last go around to see the final result of this tree. Here we go. There it is, folks. So, if you haven't subscribed, please do. Every bit helps. Until the next time, David Easterbrook here.